I am Chris Pickard, Director of Body Imbalance, and welcome to How to Decrease Your Pain in as little as 7 days, even if you've had no luck and have tried lots of other things in the past. So let's get rolling now that people are arriving. So here's a nice picture of me if you can't see the video. Body Imbalance, that's the clinic, my clinic in Hertfordshire. There's the phone number. But the website is quite simply bodyimbalanceuk.com. And as you'll see at the end, the old website still works, which is thepainreliefcentres.co.uk. So the motto of Body Imbalance at the moment is nurturing the nation to wellness, one you at a time. So I'm thinking of changing it. So why should you stick around today? Well, at the end, I'm going to tell you how you can get hold of the list of 11 pain-killing foods, also the natural pain relief report. Because even though throughout the webinar today, I'm going to be going through some fantastic strategies for you to try and decrease your pain, as well as giving you more understanding, because actually understanding where pain comes from can be actually critical to understanding and giving you the action to get out of pain. I'll also tell you how you can get access to a further 7 days of training for the 7 days, or rather the 7 days to less pain training as well. And that's all free, but there is a step you have to take. You have to show commitment to improving your own health. Now, quick results disclaimer. This is because I use this picture for the Anti-Aging Health Lab 20, where I guarantee people can feel up to 10 to 20 years younger. Now, results can vary from person to person, and it's because everyone is slightly different, and it depends on how much effort people put in and exactly what they try. But I will be going through some cases of real life people that have come to see me, or people who even haven't come to see me. They've been through online programs. Originally, this was called 3 Secrets to Decrease Your Pain in 7 Days, but there's more than 3 secrets in today's webinar. So if you have already seen the 3 secrets one, this one is a bit different. There's a bit more to it. Who is this for? Well, obviously people in pain, but back pain, stomach pain, neck pain, headaches, migraines, arthritis, fibromyalgia, but even acute things like sports injuries, and even if you are not in pain, but you're looking to prevent pain or to look at improving your athletic abilities, because pain relief and healing and improving ability are very much related together. Why? Because in order to build muscle, you actually have to damage it. And it's when you damage muscle via exercise that you actually then rebuild stronger. And so getting stronger and improving athletic performance is actually all about causing lots and lots and lots of micro injuries. So learning how to get over micro injuries quicker is actually a great way to improve your athletic performance. Now, my goal for this presentation is to really inspire you to take a different look at chronic pain. And this is through freeing you from your chains of false belief. There's a little pictures here at the bottom. So I want to free you from the chains of false belief that are holding you back. I want to take you through some different experiences, give you some stories, and what's called an epiphany bridge. Basically, an aha moment where you go, aha, or a realization where you think, you know what I previously thought isn't true. There is a new way forward. And my overall mission is to relieve human suffering, whether that's one person at a time by coming to the clinic, by telling people how to get out of pain, or leading people to less pain, but literally to decrease human suffering as a whole. And I have a plan to do it. First of all, when people come to me, it's mostly people in pain. They've got some kind of health problem. But I'm not interested in just helping them over their current health problem. What I'm really looking for is actually to help them get over that health problem and then stay healthy and keep on improving their health for the rest of their life by implementing a number of health strategies, of which there are 7 main ones, which you will learn about later. And so by improving people's health, then it should save the NHS at least £50,000 per person. Why do I say £50,000? Well, because the average 55-year-old in the UK, from nearly 55 until their demise, they will cost the NHS about £100,000. And seeing as most of that cost actually goes on chronic diseases related to lifestyle choices, and somewhere between 70 and 90, maybe even as high as 97% of all chronic disease could actually be eradicated by better lifestyle choices, I think decreasing the cost by half is relatively realistic. But I'm not just interested in inspiring one person to take action. I'm interested in inspiring people to inspire other people and to bring about what's called the rising tide effect. Now, you may have heard that the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of life of the 5 nearest people to you, and that includes health. If you look at the health of the 5 nearest people to you, you'll probably see that they'll have fairly similar levels of health to you. Now, the question is, do you want everyone to get better? Do you care enough about your friends and family to share what you will be learning here today to help improve their health and well-being too, because it will actually help you? And my belief, which comes from plenty of scientifically backed up data, is that when we start looking after ourselves, we really will look after our nervous systems and our brains. And when we have better working brains, we're going to be more at peace with ourselves and hopefully be more at peace with other people. And hopefully that will mean that people will make better decisions worldwide. But what actually makes me an expert on pain relief? Well, first of all, I originally trained as a chiropractor. I have a Bachelor of Science, and that was over 20 years ago. And I've been showing people how to add 20 years of health to their life. Not just improve their lifespan, but really improve the lifespan that they have, but improve the health within it. Because what's the point of living long if you're not going to be healthy? And why not have as long and as healthy a life as possible? And so, first of all, there was my original degree. Then there's learning from my patients, because there is nothing like experience. And every single patient is an expert in some way on health, whether they know it or not. And some patients really are amazing experts within their particular illness. So I've learned a lot from them over the years. But I've also learned from a lot of individuals. This is actually, I was actually going to tell a story of how I got into health and how I met this young man here, Pete Cohen, and then his wife, who did have terminal cancer 6 years ago, but now is cancer free, partly because of one of my gurus, Dr. Bob Rakowski, who many people in the United States have been sent to him because they've been told that medicine has got nothing they can do. And his belief is basically that everybody has imperfect chemistry, and so therefore everyone can improve. And as they improve the biochemistry of their own body, so all drugs that are given by Western medicine affect our chemistry, but we can actually change our chemistry with natural methods and natural means, safely and effectively. And this is what Dr. Rakowski does. He takes people through various natural protocols, a lot of which I'm bringing to the UK, so that they can massively improve their health, so they can stop being a breeding ground for cancer, so they can stop being a diabetic mess, so they can stop creating heart disease. Because a lot of these chronic diseases are actually created by us. Not all, but a lot of them. And if we can clear out from our body what's causing them, we get better, including less pain. And then another functional hero is Dr. Dan Pomper, who introduced me to a lot of ancient healing strategies that now, thanks to one Nobel Prize winning researcher, we are realizing that some things that we used to do because nature forced us to do them, but we no longer now do them because we in our right minds would not do them by choice because they're painful. But we're now realizing that some ancient healing strategies are actually essential to our long-term health. And that's one of the things that I teach in my anti-aging health lab, which also is massively important for decreasing pain. And basically, after 23 years and spending probably about £100,000 on my education, I've realized that if you are still struggling with your health, it's probably because you haven't spent anywhere near the same amount of money I have on learning about health. If you spent £100,000 on your health, you would be as healthy as I am, as Dr. Pomper is, as Dr. Bobrakowski is. We are all generally much fitter and healthier than people 20 or even 30 years younger, and continually improving ourselves. And we all tend to learn from people older and stronger and fitter than ourselves, because that's one of the secrets of learning about health, is find people older and fitter and copy them. Now, obviously, I have patients who are older than me, and luckily they listen and they get better. So, on with the show. 3 secrets you can use right now to decrease chronic pain. Secret number 1, it's all in the brain, and I will share with you something you can start doing right now. Secret number 2, in the cells. Fix the cell to get well. And number 3, better than drugs, healing herbs. Yes, it is actually true, and I'll tell you why, and I'll go through a list of not just some herbs, but some amazing pain-killing strategies, and there's more as well, but we'll get to that. So, secret number 1, chronic pain and brain. Whatever way you look at it, it is an absolute fact that all pain is felt in the brain. All pain. Okay, if you cut the nerves between, where you may, if you set fire to your finger, but if the nerves didn't actually transmit the pain to your brain, you wouldn't feel the pain. And we also know that the longer you have pain, the more it actually starts changing your brain. And we know that if you have pain for more than 3 months, your brain starts changing. It starts changing how it works and how it functions. And if you had a cut in your hand that started the pain, if you still got it after 3 months, you can do everything in the world to that point where the cut in your hand is. But if you don't work on the brain, you're not going to change the pain. So if you have had pain for more than 3 months and no one's looking to actually help your brain and to actually put out the fire in your brain, because quite literally, for a lot of chronic pain conditions, it's because there's literally there's a flame in the brain. And now, while the brain itself doesn't have pain receptors, it is the thing that basically tells you you're in pain. And if the brain is inflamed and you even get a tiny signal from the body, you can feel a lot of pain, such as fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is literally where the brain is on fire. And the thing with most painkillers, they actually make more brain fire. Opioids make more brain fire in the long run. So people can feel better, but they get worse. The real answer is putting out that brain fire. So there's the MRI study, and then there's also a study back in 2001 where people with arm pain they were looking at was so bad that the arm was actually amputated, and 60% of the people that had arm pain were amputated still felt the arm pain. 60%. So 60% of pain, no matter how it started, what limb it's in, you've got to look to the brain. This is one of the places we start. How to put out the fire. Okay, now there are mental techniques, so things that you can work on yourself and with other people as well, practitioners. There are physical ways to put out the fire in the brain. There's biochemical ways, and we use a mixture of nature and science to actually fix the brain fire. And I'm not going to go through everything now because there's so much to do. If it was that easy, then yeah, people wouldn't be in pain. But let's start with perception. Okay, perception. What do you think would work best? An aspirin that costs 20 pence or an aspirin that costs £2? Okay, now there's absolutely no difference between pills. They're both made by the same people, and they're both exactly the same pill. It's just that one shop is selling the aspirin for 20 pence and another shop is selling it for £2. Well, believe it or not, there is a difference. They did a study on, it was an aspirin, and it was a similar price difference, and they found out that basically the people who paid £2 or the equivalent, I think it was $2 or something like that for the aspirin, they had 40% more pain reduction than people who are spending virtually nothing. Now, 40% when it comes to pain, if your pain is 9 out of 10 and you can get it down to 8 out of 10, that's great. But if you can get it down to 7 out of 10, it's even better. Or if it's 8 out of 10, you can get it to 4 out of 10. But if you can get it to 2 out of 10, fantastic. And so the dose is the same, but the perception of what it does is different. And this has been shown time after time in many forms of everything that's done, basically. It's the more you pay, the better the effect, because you put more value on it. You put more value on the therapy, you put more value on what you're doing, you will actually have a better effect, because this helps you create your own what's called placebo effect. The placebo effect is that effect which is basically where, well, I hope I'm still there. Hopefully I am. It's the effect where people are given a pill that contains nothing, but 30% at least get better anyway. And it's the power of our own body to create all the chemicals we need to improve. Now, you don't have to spend money though, and you just have to take action. And one of the things to take action on that actually is shown to decrease pain and actually give you more strength as well, and to lower your stress levels, is practicing gratitude and forgiveness. So a very powerful strategy to decrease your chronic pain is to start a gratitude diary. Every single day, write something down that you're grateful for. And there's some powerful other strategies and things that I put together for my patients that are even better than just writing, but write down everything you're grateful for. And also learn to forgive. Learning to forgive really does take a weight off. The next thing, again, writing, literally writing down your emotions. And there's two ways to go. Okay, a lot of people respond better by writing down all the negative stuff, all the anxiety, all the stuff they're really worried about in life. Okay, just write it all down, all your feelings about anything that's bad that's happening. Write that down for 4 days, see how you feel. Because in a lot of people, writing down all the negative stuff that's worrying about, all the pain, how it's frustrating you, how it's depressing you, whatever, just get it all down on paper, get it out of your brain and onto paper. The majority of people will actually have less pain and less health problems for about 6 months after this. What's the word I'm looking for? After this experiment. However, some people it does actually bring to the surface more pain. So you want to try the exact opposite and actually just write down things that you're actually positive and joyful about. And it doesn't even have to be things that you're positive and joyful about now. It can be things that you were positive and joyful about in the past, and things that you want to be joyful and positive about in the future. And so I would try both and do the one that seems to give you the most effect. At least once a month, do it for 3-4 days. So what's next? Healing the cell. This is where pretty much all healing does start. It's directed by your brain, but at the end of the day, you've got to fix the individual cells, whether they're brain cells, whether they're nerve cells, whether it's cells in your arm, your leg, your back. You have pain because something is damaged somewhere, and you're still in pain because something is damaged somewhere, whether it's somewhere in your brain or whether it's somewhere where the original damage was. And the most important thing about your cells, again, in another webinar, I've gone into more depth on this. And the most important thing about your cells is the actual cell membrane, the thing around the outside of the cells that keeps all of the, it's like an egg. Okay, an egg is a cell. The shell is the membrane, and everything on the inside is kept safe. Whereas in a human body, all the cells aren't encased in eggshells. They're in fluid membranes that allow things like hormones and nutrients to come in and go out. And your cell makes everything you need, including other cells. So the cell membranes are actually vitally important. And if you don't look after your cells and your cell membranes, you will not get better. In fact, you will just get sick. And in fact, it's been shown that just about every single drug that is used in order to help people get better in some way inhibits the proper functioning of your cells. There's a few that don't, but most things, antibiotics actually knock out a lot of your cells. And so every time you have antibiotics, unless you actually clean your cells up properly afterwards, every time you have antibiotics, you are more likely to be sicker in the future. Now, this is not saying you should never take antibiotics, because there's a reason for them. But when you have antibiotics, it's actually really important you go through a process of cellular repair afterwards. Not just taking probiotics, it's more complicated than that. And I'll get to that in just a moment, very quickly and briefly. So what do cells actually need to remain healthy? Well, they need correct nutrition. If you don't have what a cell needs to be healthy, it will be unhealthy. So a cell in your pancreas that's sick will mean that maybe you can't digest properly, or you can't make insulin, so you're going to be more likely to have diabetic problems. You also need communication from one cell to another. So nerves, for instance, communicate what your brain wants the rest of your body to do, but also the nerves communicate directly with cells, and cells communicate directly with nerves. But there's also other cellular messages like hormones. In the health lab, we go through lots of different chemical messages and how to make sure that we're working. Now, cells also need a clean environment. I'll show you a picture. Here you go, actually. Clean environment. Basically, fish can't be healthy in a dirty bowl. Cells cannot be healthy in a dirty bowl. But also, what cells need are lots and lots and lots of these things. Now, these are called mitochondria. And mitochondria are basically the things inside your cells that make energy. They are the equivalent of chloroplasts in plants. So the things in plants that turn light into energy, and this is our equivalent in the human body. And the more mitochondria that a cell has, the more energy it has to do things like make immune cells, make muscle cells, make brain cells, make insulin, fight infection. And here's the crazy thing. Antibiotics actually switch off mitochondria. And in fact, this is one of the reasons they work. It's because it's one of our cellular defense mechanisms, is when certain viruses and bacteria invade our body, they are trying to get hold of our mitochondria so they can produce energy, so they can reproduce. And one of the reasons we feel tired when we're sick is because our body actually switches off our mitochondria in some cells as a protective mechanism. The problem is antibiotics, one of the ways they work, which we're now realizing, is they work by switching off mitochondria. Unfortunately, they switch off too many, which is why so many people can then start having so many problems with their liver and their kidneys and their brain health and their gut health, is because the mitochondria are unable to switch back on again. So this is why it's really important. Every dose of antibiotics you have, you go through some kind of cellular repair to switch your mitochondria back on afterwards. But many other drugs, anti-inflammatory drugs, naproxen, ibuprofen, Nurofen, paracetamol, Calpol for children switches off mitochondria. Who in their right mind, if they knew what Calpol does, would give it to their children? The answer is nobody, especially pediatricians, would never recommend it unless the fever goes above 41 degrees, I believe. Yes, so that's enough of a rant about drugs. So how do you fix a cell? Well, one thing that works really well, I had a lady a number of years ago, she was in her 80s, she had something called allergic polyneuropathy, which meant that she ate something, she got into pain. And it got to the point where it's pretty much the only thing she could really eat was carrots. And so what we did was, well, we're going to put you through a 7-day reboot, which is you're going to try and clean out your system and try and get as many mitochondria working in your body as possible, as quickly as possible. And what happened was literally a miracle. She'd had 20 years of pain. By day 4 of the day boot, she was actually experienced pain-free life. And she has kept on some of these nutrients. She doesn't have to have the strict diet anymore. She doesn't need all of the nutrients. She just needs one of them. It's got medical food called Ultra Inflamex. And if you'd like to learn about this, I'll tell you how to learn about this at the end. The 7-day reboot is one of the single most powerful things we can do to switch off pain in your body. And I learned this from Dr. Bob Bukowski. But here's something simple that you can start doing though. Is start cleaning yourself out. Try and eat organic only, because this will decrease the amount of pesticides and herbicides and other chemicals going into your body that can actually increase pain and inflammation. Eat lots of green leafy vegetables. Eat lots of good fats like coconut oil, avocados, small clean fish like sardines, full of great proteins that are very good for your body, full of things like coenzyme Q10, very good for producing energy. Eat lots of berries that are full of not just the vitamins that you may think of as good, but also chemicals called polyphenols, which are essential for healing. And also bone broths. Yes, go and make some good old-fashioned bone broths. Very powerful for healing and bringing down inflammation in your body. Terrible foods to have if you're in pain are pretty much all grains. Just about every single health guru on the planet, whether they're vegan, whether they're paleo, whether they're keto, whether they're a gut specialist, a brain specialist, an allergy specialist, will tell you just get rid of grains. Okay, doesn't have to be forever, but certainly gluten. Going gluten-free but removing as many grains as possible, and there's many reasons for it, will massively decrease inflammation in your body. Decrease all processed foods and decrease refined sugars. Incredibly important. If you reduce those 3 things, you are going to find a big difference in just 7 days, especially if you increase all of these as well. And let's share an experience. A guy that I was just called Mr. Chuckle. We put him on a proper alkalizing diet, which is pretty much just what I outlined to you. There are some special foods and there's some nutrients to take that really help with the process as well. And he had had years of pain ever since he had an operation on his leg. He'd had a vein taken out, and he just got more and more pain. And he literally shuffled it. He could hardly move his legs. And I thought, this is going to take a long time because he's had this for so many years. And we need to literally bathe his body in healing nutrients as well as do some physical work, because there is a physical problem there as well. Anyway, and literally 5 days after being on an alkaline diet with some specialist nutrients, he came in. He couldn't believe how different he felt. He felt like he'd got his life back, and he could go off on holiday to New Zealand with his wife, which is something that he thought wasn't going to happen. So he was very, very happy, and that was just 5 days, and he had 20 years of pain, or 10 years of pain from an operation. So a very physical reason. Now, this brings me very quickly then, joined together on secret number 3, better than drugs. As you may have just realized, is the right kinds of foods actually have profound effects on pain. But on top of food, we can stack various supplements. So there's a guy called Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, and he's a specialist in treating fibromyalgia. And this is kind of a slightly tweaked plan. Yes, you've got to get the food right. I've already spoken about that. And he's very keen on getting people to have lots of B vitamins, very important for energy production and pain relief. So a good general multivitamin is very good. But it's really important, as I said with mitochondria, to massively boost the energy. And so an energy formula with lots of coenzyme Q10, L-carnitine, alpha-lipoic acid. There's a specific supplement I use in the clinic that I really like at the moment. And then take something called D-ribose, 5 grams a day, 5 grams 3 times a day. White willow, turmeric, and boswellia 3 times a day, all very powerful herbs. And also purple passion flower, especially if you've got peripheral neuropathy. This combination of nutrients on top of good food can help bathe your nerves and your brain in literally substances that bring down the fire and the inflammation. I'm just going to quickly share something that you can get in the UK here. If you go over to nucleodyne.co.uk and you look at their cellular energy supplement, that contains the nutrients I just described for cellular energy. And Tranquinel, slightly different from one of the formulations from stuff that I've recommended just above, but it does contain purple passion flower and some of the things that Dr. Teitelbaum actually recommends for sleep, which is very, very important for pain relief as well. And so Tranquil can be taken a number of times a day to help decrease pain in your nerves. I'd also recommend along with it, you do actually take boswellia and turmeric and possibly white willow as well. And the cellular energy is really good for just increasing that cellular energy to help you heal. And here's a bonus secret. Number 4, you've got to move. So this was in the original 3 secrets, and there's no way I was going to count proper movement as well. Because movement is one of the things that pumps nutrients around your body, it pumps oxygen around your body. It actually switches off stress, and movement also feeds the brain, especially neck movement. Now, when it comes to exercise, you may feel that exercise is beyond what you can do, but you may be very wrong. One of my assistants, Emma, her mother had a very debilitating neurological disorder, and she thought she's no way she's going to do exercise, but she actually got in, did some motorized exercise, got her feeling good, and then she could actually start using weights machines and doing exercise without assistance, and she started to feel much better about herself and her well-being and who she was. Movement really is the key to actually feeling better in so many ways. If your neck and your spine is stuck, then it's actually very difficult for you to get the benefits of exercise. This is where things like chiropractic and osteopathy that get the spine moving, especially in the neck, especially there's a junction at the neck right at the top here between the occiput and the top of the skull. So basically it's this stuff in here, okay? If this is all jammed up and not moving, it literally interferes with all the messages and all the flow between your brain and the rest of your body. It also destroys the flow of nutrients into your brain and destroys the flow of bump out of your brain. So it's really important to get this area properly structurally assessed, not by a medical doctor, because they're not trained how to do this, but go to a chiropractor or an osteopath to get this checked. Okay, there are many people with fibromyalgia and chronic pain. When they actually get their spine moving, they feel much better because what they had was a blockage in the neck or a blockage in their spine. And your spine and your posture actually, they work on every physiological function in the body. And this is according to the American Journal of Pain Management. The spine is key to the whole of your health. So please get it checked. Yeah, basically in chiropractic terms, it's an old-fashioned term, and some chiropractors absolutely love the term subluxation. Some chiropractors think we need to do away with it altogether. But basically, when I talk about subluxation, I'm talking about an area of the spine that's not working properly, and it's stopping you get the full benefits of nutrition, the full benefits of exercise, the full benefits of sleep. So you just can't heal properly, and you'll feel terrible. And then when you have your spine working properly, for want of a better word, when you get the subluxations corrected, i.e. you get your spine moving properly, you'll feel a lot better. If you haven't been to a chiropractor and osteopath, give it a call. And so here's a couple of testimonials. Mr. Peter Mayton runs a very successful company in Potter's Bar and Barnet. He's seen me a number of times for his knee problems, and he's always feeling refreshed, and he has sent me patients, and he's always happy to do so. So that's knee problems, and where I worked on him, I got his lower back working properly. And then there's Philippa. Dr. Chris managed to fix an issue I've had for years due to a horse riding accident. I would highly recommend using his clinic for a professional and sympathetic service. And then here's someone who has never actually met me, Trina, and we put her through the strategies in the Anti-Aging Health Lab, and she says, I feel brilliant. My rheumatoid arthritis in my knees and hand have all but disappeared. So clearly it's helped with inflammation. I'm sleeping better. And 2, it seems to have started the weight loss again after storing. And there's more to it than that. I just took the brief view. Now, as well as going to a therapist to get moving, there are some exercises you can do at home. One of them is called the hummingbird. And what I would like to do is I actually like to send you videos to this because it's quite a crazy exercise. There's a word you should say when you're doing this as well. Don't worry, you don't have to stand. You don't have to have super block to stand on. You can just, as long as you raise your feet. And you really need to see the video to understand it. And you can do it sitting down as well. And the reason it works is because it helps create a healing response in the most important nerve in the body, the vagus nerve. And I really like to get this video to you, and I'll tell you how I can get that video to you in a minute. So a quick word about fibromyalgia, because I know so many people watching this have or have been told they've got fibromyalgia. Now, after working with people with fibromyalgia for over 20 years, I can say that at least a third of the people that I see who've been told they've got fibromyalgia have not got fibromyalgia. They've got something that can be fixed and improved upon very quickly. What they have is a spinal problem. And we fix the spine and people feel a lot better. A third of people who've been told they've got fibromyalgia actually have a problem with their cells are just completely gunked up, and we literally clean them out and they feel and work a lot better. And a third of people who've been told they've got fibromyalgia really do have true fibromyalgia, which is literally like a fire in the brain. And we're also finding out that it is linked to what's happening with mitochondria. It's almost like your body's gone into hibernation and your brain's on fire at the same time. And there are certainly protocols that can help, but you have to be able to do them. And you have to actually take action. Without taking action, nothing happens. So what is the action that you can take? Well, I teach my patients the Magnificent 7 health strategies, the Magnificent 7 health areas, which, when we take a simplistic view, looks very simple and straightforward. And you think, yeah, that's easy, but it's not as easy as it looks to do it correctly. You have to think right, talk right, eat right, drink right, move right, sleep right, and poop right. And the reason I say poop rather than poo is because this comes from America and Dr. Rakowski. And these are the protocols that he puts his patients through that basically get them back to life again. And I've put them together in a number of different ways to help people. And one of them is what's called the Anti-Aging Health Lab, and which I call 7 weeks to a younger you, or 7 weeks to a younger, less painful you. And in another webinar, I've actually gone through a lot of testimonials from it, but I won't do that today. There are 7 weeks, and there are kind of 7 parts to it, but I go through it in 5 modules. So the first module, I go through raw materials, and I really home in on switching off a major youth killer chemical that we all make, okay, but we want to switch off the effects of it, because if it's allowed to run rampant in your body, it will increase your risk of heart disease, depression, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, renal failure, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and yes, pain. So we want to learn how to switch off the major youth killer in the body. Module 2, we're actually looking at getting stress to work for you instead of against you. Stress is a major killer. It's a major addition to pain. And when you learn how to get stress working for you, you learn to become calm at the center of the storm. You build resilience to modern living and resilience to infections. Fat loss becomes easier, muscles become stronger, thinking becomes more effective, and you start to sleep better. Then we start working on energy. And there are 6 major energy batteries in the body: the mitochondria, which I've mentioned before, but also your muscles, your cell membranes, your DNA, apparently, structured water, really, really exciting stuff there, and wind up the windmill of your brain, which is your spine. Imagine what you could do with unlimited energy. Unlimited energy. Then in thought, we harness what's called alien stress. And when you go through the program, you'll know what I'm talking about. Alien stress is basically where we get the benefits of the stress put upon plants as they're growing. Okay, and it's all about when a plant is stressed, it creates certain chemicals, And those chemicals in turn are actually then good for us. They actually tell us how to survive in a certain environment. And all these chemicals, they switch on and off certain genes that basically allow us to be healthy. So in this particular module, you'll get over the confusion about diet and supplements. You'll start to unlock the power of diet and supplement variation. So you're not going to get stuck on one thing and think that one way is the only way. This really will show you how to decrease arthritis and pain, sharpen your brain, and boost your immune system. And then finally, in the fifth module, we go into what I call the dynamic duo, which really does go deep in how to balance your hormones, regenerate your brain, decrease cancer rate by up to 97%, according to some, how to cure autoimmune disorders, how to have much better athletic performance, how to control blood sugar, better digestion, and proven to kickstart total body and brain regeneration. So, let me ask you 2 questions. What would your life be like in 12 months if you implemented everything I spoke about? How much more energy would you have? How much less pain would you have? How much more movement would you have? What would you be doing? What would your friendships and your relationships be like? What would your life be like? What would your sleep be like? Would you get back to hobbies? Would you be able to pick up your grandchildren? Would you be able to plan your life and get on with the relationships you want to? Now, let me ask you a second question. Do you think you can get there by yourself? If you do with the information I've given you, fantastic. Please let me know. Tell me about your progress. Tell me what's happening. Tell me what you learned. If not, I suggest you do join the health lab. Not necessarily the 7-week program, but at least the 7-day program, which is free at the moment. But in order to get that, you have to get on a phone call with me. Not for me, but with me. It's a 15-minute pain breakthrough call. There's the phone number, 01707 662 704. Or you can email me at drchris@bodyimbalanceuk.com, and we can set up a call for you, and we'll find out where you are, what you need to do, and then I can either recommend one of my programs or finding a practitioner for you. And then at the end of the call, I will send you the report on the 11 pain-killing foods, natural pain relief report, access to the 7 days to less pain training, which includes the app that works on your brain, hydration secrets, powerful breathing exercises, more on foods, both to avoid and to have. And also, I'll send you a PDF on the ranking 7. I'll send you the hummingbird videos, and I'll probably send you something unique just for you, depending on your unique needs. So, last thing I want to remind you of my overall plan. I want to improve the health of everyone I meet so they help save the NHS £50,000 each. I want to inspire them to improve the health of their friends and their family, at least 5 members. So we're looking at saving the NHS £300,000 each person that I get inspired. And this will help save the NHS, but more importantly, it's going to help you become more at peace, and it may help the world be more at peace. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you taking time out to listen to this. And if you need help, reach out. Here's my phone number with the free 15-minute pain breakthrough call. I want to help. Be well.